Good evening, and welcome to this February 17th edition of EastCast. I'm Apoorva Dixit with David Drachman to bring you the news of the week. The first story is about teachers in service. On Thursday, February 11th, our students got a treat that the teachers missed out on. The students were sent home at 12 p.m. to start a long President's Day weekend while the teachers had an in-service. Each department had lectures and workshops to go to. The secretaries were sent to lecture halls to discuss sexual harassment on the job. With the new computers in the English departments, all of the English teachers were taught basic procedures in operating a computer. They were also taught lessons on future labs that they may be conducting to their classes. The social studies department was taken to the Philadelphia Art Museum to study American art. Whatever the department the teachers were in, I'm sure the students who were out of school had much more fun. This year's annual variety show will be held this Friday, February 19th. The show will start at 7:30 p.m., and the price for tickets is $4. This year's variety show will definitely live up to its name. It has 13 very diversified acts, ranging from comedy routines to Chinese yo-yo acts, to a stunt biking act, and to Indian folk dancing. As past years, music routines will play a big role of the show. Piano duets, acoustic guitars, and solos, and plenty of singing will keep the night rocking and rolling. Unfortunately, this year bands are not allowed to participate because the SGA feels that they should be reserved for the Battle of the Bands and the Lip Sync Show. Any way you look at it, this year's variety show will be great, so be sure not to miss it. Remember, the show starts at 7:30 p.m. in the auditorium this Friday, and with tickets only being $4, it's cheaper than seeing a movie.
The annual sophomore cotillion is rapidly approaching. Sophomore class principal Mr. Charles Fleischman said that the cotillion, which takes place February 20th, would feature many things to go along with its carnival theme. Instead of having catered food, the cotillion will feature popcorn and cotton candy machines, candy and soda vendors, and an eclectic assortment of other foods. Mrs. Elizabeth Mancini, sophomore class advisor, says that disc jockey Michael Terry is planning a great show, which will include laser lights and songs chosen by East students. There will also be a carousel. Mancini said, quote, "I hope that all sophomores consider coming to the cotillion because it should be lots of fun," end of quote. She concluded by saying that the three things being emphasized this year are fun, friendship, and good music. One thing that both Mancini and Fleischman emphasized, however, is the informality of the dance. Limos and prom-type outfits are discouraged, and in order to eliminate any confusion about the school's drug and alcohol policy, a letter regarding this policy was sent home to parents of all sophomores. In environmental news, battery recycling has come to Cherry Hill. Students are encouraged to put all but car and broken batteries in one of 4 buckets set up at East that look just like this. They're at communications, the teacher's faculty room, outside the library, and by the student entrance. The batteries will be picked up by the county to be recharged. This is a county program, so be like Apoorva and recycle your batteries. In other environmental news, Friends of the Environment's annual T-shirt sale begins in March. Shirts will be ready for Earth Week.
An assembly for the senior class is scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, February 18th. The assembly will touch on many subjects. The first item on the agenda will be trying to get more seniors to give blood for the upcoming spring blood drive. Future prom meetings with parents will also be discussed. The purpose of this is to get the students not to abuse alcohol or drugs before, during, and after the prom. The last topic of discussion will be graduation. Cap and gown measurements and project graduation will be discussed in detail, urging the seniors to get measured before it's too late and urging them to join the others in the post-graduation party at FitQuest.
Loneliness and lovelessness were reduced at St. Mary's Nursing Home last week. The East SGA sponsored a Valentine's Day trip to St. Mary's to show the residents that they cared. SGA officer-elect Gary Ross said, "I feel that it is a worthwhile cause because it only takes a minimum amount of time to make the people feel happy." In addition, the SGA also provided treats for the faculty. Donuts were provided for the teachers, and the teachers' lounge was also decorated. It's time now for sports, and with this week's sports roundup, here's Wes Fine.
Thanks, Dave. In boys basketball action, Charlie East defeated Edgewood 95-63. Brent Fisher led the team with 26 points. Other leaders included John Brand with 20 and Brendan Cody with 18 points. And on Thursday, the Cougars lost to Eastern 52-46. Brent Fisher once again led the team with 19 points. Jim Rosa, Brendan Cody, and John Brand rounded out the top scorers. In girls basketball action, Cherry East beat Edgewood 71-47. East completely dominated the first half as Joe Marple led the team with 20 points. Chris Reagan had 18 points and Danielle Williams had 10 to help East get the win. And on Thursday, the Cougars beat Eastern 64-40. Joel Marple had 20, Danielle Williams had 11, and Chris Reagan had 9. East picked up his 15th victory to improve their record to 15-3. In wrestling, Cherry East beat rival Cherry Hill West 40-20. Notable wins for East included wins by Martin Jensen, Jeff DeJong, Andrew Jensen, and Paul Walker. And on Thursday, the Cougars defeated Bishop Eustis 57-9. Some pins for East were by Jeff DeJong, Jeff Weismer, Matt Sanders, and Jeff Kelmer. And East also took part in a swimming meet in which they came in 3rd place. That's all for sports this week, and now back to you, Aporva.
And now for an EastCast editorial. Here's Aporva Dixit.
Recently, the school board administration has created a new amendment to try and stop student government and class officers from using drugs and alcohol. If a student were to run for any school office, they would have to sign a drug and alcohol pledge. Although the plan is a good one, the speculation so far is that it will not work. First, the administration is being unfair to the rest of the school by not offering the pledge to the other activities in school. Athletes have a similar pledge, but it has proven to be ineffective. It would be almost impossible to enforce unless the administration just happened to be in the neighborhood every time a party was thrown. The pledge was not even in effect the newly elected SGA officers, who are the main so-called role models. We applaud the efforts that the administration has come up with, but as always when dealing with alcohol and drugs, more needs to be done.
That's it for EastCast tonight. Special thanks to Mr. Gordon Hampson, cameraman and editor, to Mr. Keith Haynes, our advisor, and to Tim Brady and Tracy A. Denon, our student camera people. Thank you for joining Aporva Dixit and West Fine sports anchor and myself, David Drockman, this evening. Stay tuned for East-West Wrestling, which follows the junior high school news. Tonight we leave you with Ophelia, who awaits her date for the cotillion. Good night, Ophelia.
Good evening, and welcome to the West Report. I'm Lindsay Melson.
And I'm Jennifer Arreton.
Last Thursday, the sophomore class concluded the annual carnation sale with a big finish. At first, the sales were slow, but when it was finished, they ended up selling 1,300 carnations. The carnations, along with a brief message on a pink heart, were delivered on Thursday morning. Many faces were brightened as a carnation arrived in their homeroom with their name on it. The sale was a success once again and helped to put everyone in a happy Valentine's mood.
The cast and crew of this year's spring musical, West Side Story, are working hard on the production scheduled for March. If you would like to get involved with the show, contact Mr. Jalora or Miss McMenamin. Yesterday, February 16th, during all lunch periods, elections were held for West Hall of Fame. 10 senior nominees were named as their senior comrades voted for their favorite. Now over to Dave Marica with this week's sports.
The girls' varsity basketball team raised its record to 15-3 last week by defeating Overbrook 53-26 and Triton 61-24. Against Overbrook, Joanna Elias led the team with 15 points, and against Triton, Chrissy Zepnicki was the team leader with 20 points. The Lady Lions, who are currently ranked 12th in South Jersey, have been ranked in the upcoming Group 4 state championship. They are 3rd. However, this week, the team continues its regular season against Highland, Edgewood, and Camden Catholic. The boys' varsity basketball team won one and dropped one last week. The first game was an 89-61 loss to Overbrook. Last Thursday, though, the Lions grabbed their 4th win of the season by clubbing Triton 57-40. Pat Boyce had 23 points against Overbrook, and Mike Thiel had 15 against Triton. The team also plays Highland, Edgewood, and Camden Catholic this week. The West wrestling team won one and lost 2 meets last week. The team first lost to East 40-20 and then beat Deptford 43-26. On Saturday, West fell to Shawnee 47-19. Senior co-captains Todd Updike and Bob Supio led the team by each going 3-0 individually for West. The boys conclude their regular season against St. Vincent tonight and then in a 4-team meet against East, Mapleshade, and Nottingham on Saturday. The boys' swim team, who lost to Moorestown last week, will look toward the boys' championships, South Jersey championships, tomorrow, And the girls' swim team will perform in the girls' championships tonight. And finally, the boys and girls bowling teams play Eastern and Pennsauken this week. That's all the sports. Remember to stay tuned after the West and East reports for the East-West wrestling match, which was commentated by myself and Gabe Hoffman. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next week.
Last Thursday, students from the Lycée Paul Lapie in France arrived at Cherry Hill East. The exchange students will be staying with American correspondents who will in turn visit Paris in April. During their 12-day stay, they will also go to New York and Washington. We hope that the students will have a bon temps in Cherry Hill.
Well, that's all for this week's edition of the West Report. Thanks for tuning in. Please stay tuned for East-West Wrestling. Good night.
Good night.